Hello, everyone. Welcome to Learning Forward, my weekly podcast, where I meet passionate educators across the world and find out how education and learning builds thought, builds innovation, and more than anything else is the core of entrepreneurship today in a world full of startups. We've all heard of one world. We're all thinking of one globe, but we all also know at heart there is only one valley in the world. And when we use the word valley, it kind of rings dollars, thoughts, innovation. And definitely you go to one part of the world which is perhaps given us maximum innovation and creativity in the current modern economy, which has changed the way we think. Today, I meet an innovator, a person who is trying to challenge us all to actually think better, do better, and use technology better, who feels that education and entrepreneurship will actually change the world. He has built a network to support innovation community with diversity, love, and action at the core. So we have someone who's passionate about education, who's passionate about innovation, and who is looking way beyond the traditional model of university degree and getting a job under the current challenge and the today's world. Because what he feels that jobs can be given to students and that is quite a process. But to become entrepreneurs, there's a lot more than that. There's an ecosystem, and even more than ecosystem, you need community support. Welcome to Learning Forward, Kapil Gaba, and beautiful to hear someone who talks of community support to strengthen innovation. Please share your passion for education with us.
Thank you so much, Sandeep ji, for inviting me to this podcast. I've been following this podcast for a while, and I mean, it has been an enriching experience for me. To tell you about my passion, I stumbled upon education as a area to work in 16 years ago, completely by chance. I was hired by a technology company, a technology training company from my campus, and at that point of time, the idea was to get a job. To earn a livelihood and stuff. But one incident in 2008 actually made me realize the value that an educator brings to the society, to the community. And this was something in Chennai. I was selling IT training programs, and there I was leading a seminar. And after the seminar, I had this young kid, 20, 21 years old at that point, come and fell on my feet. And he was crying. And he was speaking Tamil, which I did not understand. So I requested my colleague who was standing there to help me understand what he was saying. And the gist of that was that this kid, after completing his education, did not get a job. After completing a BTech degree, did not get a job. And he was in a family of 4 people, eldest son, and then he had 3 younger sisters, and mom used to work as housemaid. And for him, not getting a job and spending all the money on engineering, everything was like a very difficult situation to be in, and he was contemplating committing suicide. And then he attended one of the programs that we had at my organization, which was a 3-month-long program with a money back guarantee, where we said, you do this 3-month program, if you don't get a job within 90 days after that, we'll give you the money back. And through that program, he got a job after attending that. And from there, I realized the value and the impact education can have, not just on that individual's life, but his family and the community at large. From a time where this kid was contemplating committing suicide and seeing himself as a failure, to getting a fresh lease of life through education and training and getting a job to support his family and lead with all his self-esteem and self-respect intact. That is the time I turned from just working in education sector to being an educator. That has been my journey, and I've spent last 16 years in education, and worked on as the founding team member on 2 of the largest universities in the country, And it has been a phenomenal journey. So I can't really imagine anything beyond education, beyond uh, uh, working with these young kids, children, young adults, and helping them explore their passion. uh, what I love is to see their entire transformation that they go through as part of their learning and education process, and where they start and where they end up in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years time, that they kind of are in my kind of visibility. So it's been a phenomenal journey for the last 16 years.
Please stay with us. We will be back after a quick commercial break.
Thank you, Kapil, for sharing your journey of a decade and a half and beyond. You talked about family and leadership. You also are committed to building an organization which is not really a startup. How do you think your vision of OneValley is different from the zillions of investment and innovation outfits that exist in the world today?
So it's a highly competitive space, of course, and it's a very exciting time. I'll just trace the steps back in the education and how we saw education evolve in the last, say, 70 odd years. So India traditionally inherited a legacy structure based on rote learning, which was essentially good to have people in structured jobs which were not very complex. So rote learning worked well until that point of time. From there, it moved to over the last decade and a half, where critical thinking, problem solving skills, ability to analyze, and these things became very, very important because the world started becoming more complex. The decision making started becoming more complex. There are many variables which came in. There are many people who came in, and the ability to work with everybody and build a consensus became important. So that's where critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, and all this became very, very important. And education system started talking about, and in some cases serving, this particular requirement, the social requirement through education. Now going forward, what we believe is the world will be much more complex than it was in the last over the last 10 years, and there are some critical things that people will definitely need to have, and they will need to be independent operators in many ways. Like you mentioned earlier during the introduction, that the model of getting a degree and getting a job, that model will evolve the way it will evolve, but it will also give way to a lot of entrepreneurial activities with these kids. Right now, a lot of these youngsters, young adults are in colleges, schools, experimenting with entrepreneurship, with small projects. But in another 10 years' time, this will be mainstream. Some of it by choice and some of it by circumstances. The student that I was talking about, who found a job through this training program, we'll have many more of those students without a job. And unfortunately, they will have no choice but to become entrepreneurs by circumstances. So there'll be two things: either they become entrepreneurs by choice, or they become entrepreneurs by circumstances because of lack of jobs. Now, what do we have for these kids? So one thing that we are working on is academic curriculum or accelerator curriculum, which trains these youngsters who want to be entrepreneurs, educates them, skills them, gives them the primary needs and the thought process to be an entrepreneur. That is one, at the curriculum level. And second thing is to have a large community of global founders to support them. So a new founder, say, imagine a 20-year-old student still in college, wants to set up a company of his own, but doesn't know where to start. OneValley, which is the global platform, gives them that opportunity to connect with 4,000 odd founders as on date, to connect with from across the world, some 150 odd mentors from across the world who they can talk to and polish their idea before they jump into it. Many services for startups, for their startup, to save on money because they will be short on funds to begin with. So, and the idea of OneValley is the world is one large community. Innovation can come from anywhere. Earlier, the idea was innovations, Silicon Valley is the hub of innovation, but now innovation can come from Bhopal, it can come from Kochi, it can come from Xi'an in China, it can come from any part of Africa. So with connectivity, with technology, innovation is happening all over the world. And that's where OneValley comes in as one global supportive community to help all these young entrepreneurs to explore entrepreneurship as the career, as the opportunity for life.
Thank you, Kapil. It's so beautiful to see your passion to build entrepreneurship and innovation in the world. And as the world moves to a stage of collaboration, there will be always scope for doing more together. And bringing mentorship and entrepreneurship together is a very good combination. Thank you to OneValley. All the best.